So we've now finished all the pages and we're just going to put it together and do all the little finishing touches. So good morning, Lynn. Thank you for joining us. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do this back page. Now, if you've been watching all the way along, you'll know I have been saving this paper and I'm now going to work with this paper, this page, to do my final page. Now, I have done quite a lot of the prep this morning because there's quite a lot I want to sort of go through. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a dimensional pocket. So you've seen me make these before. The measurements before scoring were 9 1/4 by 7. And then I scored half and half and half at the bottom. So the inside measurement is 8 1/4 by 6 1/2. So I've then, I've folded these. I haven't burnished them. So I'm just going to burnish it really carefully. And then the other side. So I know some of you yesterday saw Cool Cats live on Facebook. It was very good. I couldn't stay right to the end, but I think I saw most of it. So, and I do like those new dies. I really do like those new dies. So that's burnished. So I'm just going to stick that on. So it's same as before, open up his ears and we put some glue on this bottom section here. Okay, and then I'm just going to line this bottom section up, whoops, to the bottom here, and I'm being very careful, A, not to go over the hinge, and B, not to go over the edge of the page. So I'm just making absolutely sure it's not over the edge of the page, if it isn't. And press that down. I want it level with the bottom. Press that down like so. And then open it up and get in there and do this. Okay, and then I am going to put some black tape along that bottom so that it will slide in if I put anything inside it. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that. That needs just to be cut a little bit. It's gone a bit of a wobble. There we go. So, and then put these two edges up. Now I'm doing this before I put the pages in because I want to make sure everything is in place. So glue gun is here in front of me. So I'm going to put some glue down both sides. And then lift that, and I need to make sure it's not going over the hinge. I need to make sure it's not going over the edge of the page, and I'm just going to put that in place there. So this was one where it was actually quite important to get the measurements spot on, which was one of the reasons I did it before I came on, because I didn't want to be rushing to get the measurements spot on, because you want to make sure it's not going to impact on that hinge at all. Okay, so that's in. So now I'm going to place this. Now this is at 8 by 6 1/4. So it has just taken that little top piece off, but that's fine because it will help to match it when we come to put this piece in, like that. So having that piece like that will help to match the whole thing up. So I'm going to pop this on all the way around, and I really wanted this as my back space for making some notes about the album. So let me just do this. And I have gone round the edges of everything in preparation today. So it's not that I've forgotten. I can't pick that up now. Oh, that's it. So I'm now going to go round here. And a number of people that have said how much they like these papers. I must admit, I'm really liking them. So I'm just going to go in there, tucking it in both sides, and then slide it to the position before I stick it down. So I want everything to meet up beautifully. That whole thing meets up really, really nicely. And we're going to make some tags. We're going to make some side tags, but you could use them and make them the same way for that. So I am really pleased with that back page. I'm so glad I saved those papers. So we've now got our 4 pages. Now, one of the things to think about when you're putting your pages in is to try and make sure that nothing catches on anything else. We know this is going to be our first page. So that is going to go in there, and that's going to be onto that. So we really want something that isn't going to catch on that. So I'm tempted by that, because when I look, I can see that there's not necessarily anything that might catch. So I might have that as page 3 and page 4. So then I've got, I think I'm going to go for that. I might go for it that way around, but I'm just a bit concerned that that might catch on that. So I think I'm going to go this way round and have, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm definitely going to go this way round. I don't think anything is going to catch on that. No, 7, 8. And if I look at this, just want to make sure it's not going to catch. No, it all falls flat. So it is worth, before you put anything in, just to make sure that, because you've got quite a lot of raised things, that nothing is going to catch on anything else. So I'm going to start at the back, and I'm just going to glue up to that first fold. So I'm going to put some glue on this side, like so, right up to the edge there and there, and then some glue on this side, like so. And then I'm going to get this and open the sides up so that I can get my hand inside. I just need to get my fingers inside that side, and then slide that into position. Now, because you've cut those 2 mitres, that's going to slide quite easily, and you've made it very slightly, you made a spine very, very slightly, an 1/8 of an inch or less smaller. It should all go in and line up. Now, I know some people use tape. I don't have the confidence to use tape. I really don't have the confidence to use tape. I like to be able to manoeuvre. So that's that one. So just press those edges into the spine. Okay, let's make sure I haven't missed anybody. Please remember, if you want to come on and say hello, please do. If you've got any questions, please ask. Okay, so I'm ready to do the second one now. So I'm going to lie it flat that way. Put some glue right up to that edge, and then onto this edge. Remember, I'm only going as far as that fold. That second 1/4 of an inch is your flexi. That's what is allowing that to fold flat. So put my hand again inside. Oops, make sure we've got no sticky bits. And that's going to go onto there and there. Take it flat so that you can see where the fold is. and then onto that side, press it down firmly, like so, and then press it down on the other side. And get all the bits of glue off. A glue rubber, I find, is an absolute must for me. Okay, so on this one I've got a little piece of tape. I obviously tore it or something, I can't remember, so I'm just going to take that little bit of tape off. No, I'm not, because I don't want it sticking. Take that back, Sarah, leave that bit of tape on, because it actually goes over. I know what I did. I used the cutter instead of the scorer, didn't I? But I don't want it sticking this side, so I'm going to leave that tape on. So we're going this way now. So I'm going to put this one on first. So I'm going to go for the first page now. In fact, sometimes, no, I'll stick with it as it is. I was going to say sometimes it's easier to turn it over. But, so I'm going with the front page now. Glue down both sides. So the front page, just open it up, put your fingers in, slide it into place. Whoops. I find this side harder to do than the other side, and I never quite know why. Yeah, I do know why on this one, because I've got a pocket there as well, haven't I? So I just need to make sure we're in the right pocket. We're going in the right place. I've forgotten we had another pocket there. So just slide it in. And I'll just seal it down this side. Turn it over. Don't worry about the glue. You can get the glue rubber to it later. Not now, but later. Okay, and of course it will glue, dry clear is what I'm trying to say. So I'll just rub that into place. So now we're just left with this last one. So again, glue on both sides. Tape is easier if you are confident of getting it in place straight away, which is what I'm not. And also if you're not as concerned about the longevity. So that one's going that way round. I much prefer wet glue, but that is a very personal choice. It is quite difficult to get the glue on at this stage, but I still prefer it. So get that down to the fold, all the way along, press it into place. So turn it over and press it into place on the other side. So I have got a little bit of that tape showing. So what I'm going to do is actually cut that off. Whoops, I'll have to come back and I will use a glue rubber with a pen. So I can go over it now. So I'll go over that bit with a pen. Black pens are really, really useful. Okay, it's not going to look perfect, but I will probably put a little strip on that anyway. Okay, I'll come back to that in a bit. So that's your 4 pages in place now. So you can see that, yeah, again, Gillian, that's not a bad idea, using both tape and glue. I just don't have that confidence with the tape that it's going to stick. And I know I should have, but, you know, I've done enough of them, but I just don't have. So, as you can see, it is now, I will be putting little strips of paper in there and getting rid of all those bits of glue with my glue rubber. That's the word I'm looking for. But the whole thing now has come together really neatly. So I need that to tuck under there. It doesn't want to. So the last thing I've got to do is to do some inserts to go between my pages. Now, if you remember, we made this an insert as well. So the page, and then you've got the main insert. She says I haven't got any nails to actually get in there. Yeah, there you go. You've got the main page insert. So you've got 2 there. So what you've actually got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inserts. Okay, so I've got it all sort of ready. So I've made the inserts on the black card at 7 1/4 square. So that is the size of the insert, and they will fit really nicely into each of those spaces, and they'll go fairly well down to the bottom like that. Now I want to put little pulls on these, but if I just put all the pulls in the same place, it's not going to look very nice. So what the first thing I've done is I've cut out 5 of these Corkats pulls, and I've decorated them with the little circles. Then I had to do a bit of maths. Okay, so it's a bit of a maths game now. So I took my 7 1/4 and I put it all into 1/4 inches. So that was 29 quarters. So 7 4s 28 plus 1 more is 29. And I then divided that by 5 and I got 5.8. So we've got 5.8 quarters. So 5, what I worked it out to is about 1 3/8. I was slightly off, but actually, there we go. So I then took this first piece and I marked it at 1 3/8. So my first tag is going to glue on level with that first mark. So I'm going to glue that one into place. So you need to do this before you do anything else. Okay, so my first 1 3/8 mark is there. So I'm going to put that level with that. Okay, so then I got my second piece of card. I've got all the marks on here somewhere. And I know I have. Is that the second one? Yeah. And I marked it at the second mark. So this one is just marked at the second mark. So I'm going to take my tab, my second tag, and I'm going to line that up with the second mark. Put that on, line it up with the second mark, like so. So I'm then going to take the third one, and again I have labelled that up. There we go. So I took the next one and I lined that up with the first one on the third mark. So I'm going to do the same thing again. So if you mark the first one with all the marks, then the rest you've only got to mark the one mark that you need. You can see how it's all lining up in a nice order. So then the fourth one lined up with the fourth mark. So we're going to put this here. Now there was a fifth mark, which was advantageous because it meant I didn't have to go right to the bottom. So although my maths was slightly out, it was only slightly out. So that one goes on there. And then finally, the last one, I was about 1/4 inch out. Don't know what I did. My maths was just a bit skew-if, but it worked out for the best because this one fits on. Now the other thing to notice, oh God, I've got glue all over my hands, is that I've rounded all the corners. Should have said that first. So I've rounded all 4 corners of this. Okay, so those now are your 5 tags, and they are all equidistance apart, which I just think looks nicer. Okay, so the next thing I did, start with number 1. Oh, should go like that. So we'll start with number 1. So the next thing I did was I cut myself some pieces of paper. Now this is 7 1/4, so I cut this at 1 1/4. I haven't gone round all of these because I'm not going to make all of these with you. I'm just going to make one. So I'm going to go around the edge of this, like so. And that is going to glue on to there. That's why it's important to do your tags first, because you want to cover the bit that's holding the tag in place. So that's going to go onto there like that. And again, I've rounded the corners of that. And then I've cut 5 pieces of cream card at 7 by 5 3/4, and I've rounded 2 edges, and they will fit neatly onto there like so. And because this is a really nice album, and I'm not going to spoil the ship for a ha'porth of tar, or whatever the saying is, so I'm going to put that onto there like so. I'm going to do the same on the back. So I've got, do you know what? I cut these the wrong way. Oh, never mind. Right, okay. So, no, that one won't work the other way around because it's the cover of the book. Some of them I can just turn around. Yeah. Always a good job to think about which way round, but you know what I'm like with spatial things. Hey ho, it's fine. So I'm just going to glue this on like so, and as you can see, I've used the cover of the pack as well. You can use absolutely every piece, don't waste a bit. So that goes on like that, and then that goes on like that. So that one goes onto there, and as I say, I'm not going to do them all because that would be a bit boring. Okay, but what you can see, I hope, is that when I put them in, so this is the first one, which is actually going in that gap we've created there. That one will go in like that. Oops. That one will go in like that. That needs pushing down a bit more. And then that one will go in. And then the next one will go in the next one. And the next one will go in the next one. Have I missed one? Oh, yes, I have. Oh, Dad. That one will go in there. I thought I couldn't count them. That one will go in there. And that one will go in there. And that will just finish that off. And then you can do the same thing, but this way round for the top, and you put that in the middle. But that gives you, and that will just go into there. And actually you could put 2 or 3 into there, if you so choose. Right, so the last thing you've got to do, and I'm not going to do it today, is then to put a piece of card on the back. So that your piece of card will be, I I don't know, 7 3/4 probably, but you can measure that. So that is your book almost finished. I've just got to finish off those. So I really hope that you've enjoyed that and you've enjoyed maybe crafting along with me or doing it.